After the GOP voiced sharp objections, President Trump's own media wing also launched a fierce public backlash against the Iran deal, with commentators and pundits on allied outlets framing the agreement as a strategic mistake and amplifying partisan criticism in ways that put additional pressure on the administration's diplomatic posture. U.S. right-wing figures cried foul, accusing Mojtaba of having fooled President Trump with a memorandum of understanding, a narrative pushed by conservative commentators who argue the deal grants Tehran tactical advantages while casting doubt on the sincerity and judgment of those who negotiated it. Critics warned that Washington's deal with Tehran risks leaving Israel behind, insisting that the terms appear to prioritize American de-escalation over the security concerns of Israel and could therefore widen strategic divergences between the two long-standing partners. Some analysts and commentators went further, arguing that Iran stands to gain more from the U.S. concessions than Israel does, suggesting that economic relief, diplomatic legitimacy, and reduced pressure might strengthen Tehran's regional influence in ways that could disadvantage Israeli interests. After Republican critics voiced their objections, right-wing media outlets in the United States have joined the chorus, mounting a sustained campaign against Washington's deal with Tehran that blends sharp commentary, alarmed analysis, and partisan framing intended to shape public opinion and pressure policymakers. Fox News commentator Levin warned that the Iran deal would significantly strengthen Tehran, arguing in forceful terms that the agreement hands Iran tangible strategic advantages which could alter the regional balance of power and undermine long-term U.S. and allied security interests. The Fox News commentator, Levin, said, and I quote, "The Iranian regime will now receive more money from this deal in a single year than Israel receives in 10 years, nearly all of which buys military equipment from American companies. Israel is actively and aggressively focused on complete economic and military independence. It does not want to be treated as a sterling partner in war, but a belittled punching bag the rest of the time. Just listen to what's said about Israel by Democrats, woke-right podcasters, TV hosts, and even some of our friends. I fear we will regret this as we grow closer to countries like Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan and go down a narrow and dark path." Unquote. Many Americans view Washington's deal to end the war as overly favorable to Tehran, arguing that the terms appear to grant Iran disproportionate benefits while leaving key U.S. and allied security concerns insufficiently addressed. One of the most contentious flashpoints centers on the anticipated scale of economic relief and the large sums of money that critics say would flow to Iran, a financial transfer they fear could materially strengthen Tehran's regional influence and reduce incentives for behavioral change. The Memorandum of Understanding envisions lifting sanctions on Iranian oil exports and unfreezing Iranian assets, measures designed to restore Tehran's access to international markets but viewed by opponents as potentially accelerating Iran's revenue streams with limited oversight. Included in the proposals is a suggested $300 billion fund for reconstruction, a sweeping financial package intended to rebuild war-damaged areas, but which opponents argue risks empowering the Iranian state without sufficient guarantees on how the money would be managed and monitored. Members of President Trump's own party, saying they are receiving too little in return, have publicly criticized the deal, accusing the administration of conceding too much while failing to secure concrete, enforceable commitments that would demonstrably curb Iran's destabilizing activities. As President Trump praises the merits of the Iran deal, many Republicans in Washington are visibly uneasy and on edge, with senior lawmakers and conservative commentators publicly debating whether the agreement betrays core party principles or leaves the United States exposed to future risks. Republicans angrily condemned President Trump's interim deal with Iran as a mistake, arguing that the pact contains concessions that could embolden Tehran and that the administration moved too quickly without securing ironclad guarantees or congressional oversight. The administration hailed the 14-point Memorandum of Understanding as a major win, intended to end the 110-day conflict, presenting the agreement as a diplomatic breakthrough that prioritizes de-escalation and the rapid return of stability to a volatile region. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy said, quote, "Reagan is rolling over in his grave. Iran's nuclear ambitions were not curbed, and they have learned that threatening the Strait of Hormuz works and will undoubtedly leverage it in the future. Now, Iran gets to build brand new infrastructure under this deal. Before the war, the Strait was open, Iran was being crushed by sanctions, and 13 service members were still alive. Now, 13 Americans are dead, families have paid billions at the pump, sanctions will be lifted, and the bombing has stopped. This is the worst foreign policy blunder in decades," unquote. Trump administration officials emphasized the downblending of enriched uranium as an important safeguard, claiming that converting higher enriched material into forms less suitable for weapons reduces immediate proliferation risks and serves as a verifiable confidence-building measure. But critics counter that Trump's Iran deal accomplished less than the 2015 nuclear agreement negotiated under President Obama, saying the interim pact lacks the long-term, legally binding restrictions and intrusive verification mechanisms that defined the earlier accord. Another prominent Republican, Senator Ted Cruz, described elements of the pact as ill-advised and urged that further details be disclosed and scrutinized, warning that without greater transparency and stronger enforcement measures the agreement could prove dangerous rather than stabilizing. Republican Senator Ted Cruz said, and I quote, "What has been released so far suggests that, unfortunately, the president is getting, I think, very poor advice when it comes to this deal. History teaches that giving billions of dollars to theocratic lunatics who want to murder us is a bad idea," unquote. While Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, following discussions with Envoy Witkoff, said he believes the Memorandum of Understanding could prove beneficial, he qualified that view by stressing the need for careful oversight, clearer verification steps, and contingencies to ensure the agreement actually delivers measurable security gains rather than merely offering temporary political cover. Republican Senator Lindsey Graham said, and I quote after this discussion, "It is my opinion that signing the MOU will be beneficial to the United States, inasmuch as the Strait of Hormuz will begin to open, and the hostilities with Iran will stop. Whether or not the United States can reach an acceptable, verifiable deal with Iran regarding its nuclear program and other issues is yet to be determined, but I see little downside to trying," unquote. Vice President J.D. Vance publicly endorsed Senator Graham's updated assessment, signaling that senior figures in the administration and party leadership are willing to acknowledge potential positives in the memorandum while still insisting on rigorous safeguards and oversight.